Hello, and welcome back to Let's Play Megaman Zero 2. Last time we didn't do much of anything because Elpizo is a fast son of a bitch, and frogs are in general stupid. This time we get to choose to fight one of the four, well actually three at this point, Guardians of Neo Arcadia. I'll be going for Fafnir first because I cannot stand to do the second set in the same elemental order as the first one. Once again, we're being tasked with retrieving our commander from his little misadventures, this time within an abandoned shuttle factory. Like the Forest of Notice before, this stage bears some resemblance to a previous level, but unlike the Forest of Notice, the resemblance is not quite as egregious. I'll be seeing you there. First thing you should notice about the stage is that we've been here before. Unlike the Forest of Notice, which took previous assets and recycled them into an entirely new stage, this is actually literally the power room we were in before. Phoenix Magnion's death appears to have destroyed the doors and ruptured the floor, which means we get an entirely new area to explore. In case you were wondering, that was the third reactor we were at up there, the one located directly to the right of the toy tank section. This area you'll want to slide down very slowly because should you just fall down, you'll likely smack against one of the enemies, dickerously located on the way down. Whereas Phoenix Magnion's stage was more focused on non-linearity and exploration, this one takes the same assets but puts them into a new setting. This stage is almost entirely focused on platforming, hence you get sections like this. You gotta time your jumps between the crucibles of molten metal, and it can be quite difficult to time at times, which means that you'll want to use the ice chip to cheese it a bit. It lets you freeze these things, which makes it quite a bit easier seeing as they then lose their damaging capabilities. Hidden Cyber Elf in there. Not quite intuitive. Anyway, I really do like this stage. It has one of the lowest enemy requirements in the entire game because of all the focus on platforming, and it's really satisfying to finally get the timing down for each and every one of these jumps. Only a couple enemies, and they're all placed just to slow you down a bit and prevent you from rushing. This jump in particular can be tricky, seeing as we usually get the jumps between the upward moving platforms, and they can be very difficult to time the downward ones. This section is really well designed. The top enemies up there make you think that you're going to have to do fancy jumps to get in between them, but the platforms are actually perfectly placed to allow you to just dash in between them. Falling platforms and the platforming can get a little bit too hard for my tastes, but it's still rather satisfying to get through. Music playing is called Passionate, and like the Power Room's Gravity, it's a lot chiller and more industrial sounding than a lot of the other tracks. What can I say, I really like this game's music. Speaking of industry, we're now leaving the underground part of the shuttle factory, and entering the area which actually looks like what could be an actual factory. This part mostly revolves around scaling a bunch of scaffolding in between these top enemies, and I kind of like this section mainly because of these enemies. They're called Pantheon Launches, and it's one of the only places in the game where they appear. I really like them because of how over the top those guns of theirs are with their extremely fast and large bullets. Just gonna grind the enemies a bit here to make sure I have enough. It really sucks having to redo a whole stage just because you're one or two below par. And switching to the elect chip because you should know what fire's weak to by now. Fighting Fafnir's name derives from Fafnir, a dragon from Norse mythology. He's the fire elemental of the Guardians, which is why the thunder elemental Sengetotsu works so wonderfully against him. Primarily he's a ranged fighter, shooting various types of fiery projectiles. However, the shield boomerang actually puts a stop to that. This is something I didn't know for quite a while, and it is really quite convenient because no matter what he fires at you, you'll be able to make short work of it. Makes him quite a bit easier. He's also highly mobile, and anytime he gets off-screen, he'll generally jump at high speeds to your current location and try to snipe you from above. This is his EX skill, titled Hellfire. It's rather hard to describe in words, but basically you want to wait till the first shot that comes up dies down before you jump over the smaller ones in order to get to safety. Usually he'll use it twice after he gets to half health, but the Thunder Elemental makes quick work of him. In the last game he had 3 health bars, which I don't know why they really removed, and it makes him significantly easier, which I don't think he should be. But you know, whatever. Tento Lancers in the background there, if you didn't notice them, they're the mid-boss from the Intercool bombing stage. And it's a nice little cameo. It's supposed to be a shuttle factory after all. Blast Chat is the EX skill we get. It's the 4th and final EX skill for the Buster.
Tento.
And so, once again, we failed to recapture Elpizo, thanks in large part to the incompetence of the Neo-Arcadian military. Now then, let's show off that skill. Like the other Buster skills, it requires you to have its corresponding element equipped, and so we're equipping the Fire for the Blast Shot. The Blast Shot changes your shot to a volatile sphere of fire that, upon contact with the surface, will explode for about 2 seconds. Plus sides, it does multi-hits to anything it hits. Downsides, it loses piercing damage. In general, that makes it pretty sucky, and I would not recommend using it. Moreover, using it against bosses will usually result in reduced damage, so all around not a good thing to use. That's going to be the end of this part. See you next time.